I don't give tips to no one.
The image of Count Orlok has haunted you since you were a child. So, what do you think your 9-year-old self would say about the way you approached and reinvented the character?
I remember when I was also probably 9 years old, like seeing the trailer to the Coppola movie, like in the theaters, and thinking, of course, now I know it's like entirely invented, but thinking like, that must be the real Dracula. You know, and so you know, hopefully, you know, if I was 9 years old today, I'd have access to the internet and could see that yes, in fact, like this was very researched, and this is, you know, what an actual dead Transylvanian nobleman would look like.
Willem, 2 decades ago, you work in the movie Shadow of the Vampire. You play Max Schreck, the actor that brought Count Orlok to life in the original silent film. So now you play an entirely different character, but did this previous experience somehow help you dive into this new version of Nosferatu?
Sure. I mean, first of all, it made me study the original film a lot. But the truth is, you know, when you start a movie, you kind of leave all other experiences behind and try to open up to a new one. So to tell you the truth, as much as I loved Shadow of the Vampire and I loved performing that role, I thought about that very little, because what I had to do in this is very different. The characters very different. But at the same time, it's fun to have that connection.
Were there any notes for Bill Skarsgård from your maybe?
I don't give tips to no one.
Okay, excellent. Talking about the original movie, the silent movie, something truly magical about it is that there's a big difference if it's entirely black and white or colorized, or if the music comes from an orchestra or from a synthesizer. So I wanted to ask you, what's the version you watched the first, or which version you enjoy the most?
I mean, I love watching the restored versions that are the closest to Murnau's intention, and that was very valuable in understanding, you know, his, you know, what I just said, his intentions and what he was after in trying to think about how I would approach the story. But yes, what I saw as a 9-year-old was black and white with English subtitles that were translated from French subtitles, and you know, and it was from a 16 millimeter print, very degraded, and it had absolutely no score. I think I was saved. I think by having no score and not having like a cheesy synth or organ score on there, because I think that, you know, just those raw black and white images with no score was a very haunting way in, you know, and as a kid, I weirdly have more patience than I do now, because I was kind of like, what are these adults up to? What is this? What are they doing? And so there is a kind of like magic and mystery about anything, but particularly that film.